This may be very uncomfortable to some, but we've got to talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the former U.S. Secretary of State and the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin Powell, dying at the age of 84. His family put out a statement on Facebook about this, and I'll place that on the screen before you. Basically, they're saying that Colin Powell was a loving husband, father, grandfather, great American. They want to thank Walter Reed for their loving care, and that he also had the virus, and that's why he died. He died from complications of the virus. Now, there's so much here that I have to address. Again, as I said from the beginning, it might get uncomfortable because it's going to get political. We're going to get into it, but if nobody else wants to say it, then I'm going to say it because it must be said. It's the elephant in the room, and I always address the elephant in the room. Now, before I continue, I want to say rest in peace to Colin Powell. I looked up to him for a long time in my life as, you know, a really rock solid, stable figure, black conservative person that I could kind of view and not feel so kind of being trapped in the closet by being a black conservative male. I could look at him and say, okay, he's doing it, then I can do it too. Now, his politics toward the end of his life were not my cup of tea, obviously. He kind of went a different direction, but that does not take away from what he did throughout his life. Aside from the WMDs, things of that nature, the more, you know, controversial things. Regardless of what, may he rest in peace. And I hope that he is not treated the same way that Herman Cain was treated when he died last year of the same virus, right? I'm going to get to that part a little bit later, but let's back up. Let's back up a little bit to explain more of what's going on. Now, his family said that he had the virus and that's why he died, but he also had two other pretty big illnesses. The first one was multiple myeloma. Now, if I'm wrong about this, what I'm going to say next, you guys, you doctors, medical professionals, let me know in the comments below. But multiple myeloma is a blood cancer. So he had cancer. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is he had Parkinson's. So if you have Parkinson's and cancer at age 84, that might kind of contribute to you passing away. I'm just saying maybe. But again, I don't know. I'm not a medical professional. I'm no doctor. I'm no nurse. I'm not a person that really understands these illnesses. But we have to have that as far as proper context. I'm not going to just, you know, leave that part out and talk about the virus only. But his family said that he died from the virus and he was fully vaccinated. I almost forgot that part. That's a pretty important part. He was fully vaccinated and died from the virus. Now, having had the information, fully vaccinated and died, let's go back to Herman Cain. I mentioned him earlier. I remember when Herman Cain caught the virus and died, he was routinely mocked all over television, the internet, even still to this day. One of the callers on my live show spoke about this thing called the Herman Cain Award. That's on Reddit. It's this really big group. Tens of thousands of people are in it, and they mock people who die from the virus, who, you know, maybe they weren't vaxxed, maybe they didn't wear the mask or whatever the case may be. Really, really sick people to make fun of somebody dying from the virus, right? But the reason why Herman Cain is and was mocked for dying of the virus is because there was one picture of him at a Trump rally. I think it was in Tulsa. Remember the whole thing about Juneteenth and last year, 2020? It was this whole big thing talking about, oh, you can't have this rally here on this sacred day. Really weird. But he was at that rally and he was not wearing the mask in the picture, at least not over his face and mouth, whatever. So from that, people say, oh, he doesn't want to wear a mask. He's trying to kill people. He doesn't care if he catches the bug. So then when he died a short while afterward, they say, oh, well, see, he didn't have a mask on in that one picture. That means he caught the virus right there. Trump killed him, all this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, nobody knows when he caught the virus, and he wears masks routinely. He had worn them before. I've seen him with a mask on before. Okay, maybe he had the mask off for that picture and put it right back on. Who knows? Either way it goes, it doesn't even really matter because you have somebody that had the shot, double vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and still died. Yes, he was 84. How old was Herman Cain? He was in the 70s, or at least close to it. I'm pretty sure he was in his like early to mid 70s. And if you are a black male, your life expectancy is 75. So he was right there at the age that you would die normally. I mean, I don't have any male grandparents, no, great grandfather, nothing that I know that have lived to be beyond like 80, 81. I mean, you can't live forever. That goes for Herman Cain. That goes for Colin Powell. But the media will not touch on the virus thing when it comes to Colin Powell. Not at all. They'll focus on the age. Oh, he was 84, all this and that. They may even bring up multiple myeloma. They may bring up Parkinson's, but they won't bring up the fact that he had the shot because that goes against the narrative. What's the narrative? Oh, if you have the shot, then you won't die. You won't go to the hospital. Well, obviously, that's not true. That's not true at all. Now, some are going to try to say the reason why he died is because of the unvaxxed. How does that make any sense? If he is vaxxed, that means he's protected, right? What do the unvaxxed have to do with the vaxxed? Some are going to say, well, if you are vaxxed, your chances of catching it and spreading it are reduced. But that's not true at all. Again, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky says that the vax does not stop transmission.
Our vaccines are working exceptionally well. They continue to work well for Delta with regard to severe illness and death. They prevent it. But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission.
And transmission means catching it and or spreading it, both. Transmission, it can't stop it. All that it does is reduce your chances of going to the hospital and dying. And obviously, that's not 100%. There have been more people than just Colin Powell who have died while vaxxed of the virus and other things that have potentially been caused by the vax. So what are we even doing here? I'm not really sure why the family put out that he was fully vaccinated. Maybe that'd be an obvious question that everybody would ask and they want to get it out. Or maybe they want to say, hey, well, we were told that he wouldn't die of the virus if he got fully vaccinated. So we went ahead and made sure he got vaccinated. Maybe even in a reduced mental or physical capacity. If you got Parkinson's and cancer, maybe you're not necessarily fully aware of what's happening. They may have gotten him vaccinated and then he dies. Okay. Hank Aaron died like 2 weeks after getting the shot. He was old. He was in his 80s as well. But nobody says anything. If he was to die of the virus at that age, they would have said, oh, you should have wore a mask or you should have got the vax. If he didn't do those things. This whole thing is ridiculous, and I think at a certain point, we got to stop this nonsense. We have to stop. I can't speak for Colin Powell's family, and I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to, but in my humble opinion, I think that they're trying to say something in that message. Like, hey, our father, our grandfather, or whatever, got it and still passed. So what's going on here? As I close, I want to say this. I don't want to make these things political. I really don't. But this whole thing is political. When people are losing their jobs, people are being attacked, people are being slandered even after they die over the vax, over the mask, over everything. It has to be a certain time where you say, all right, I'm going to just stop trying to play the good guy role and just tell things for how they are. That's it. You know, it's not right for people to try and attack Herman Cain for just the mask, because at that time there was no vax. I'm seeing people say that he wasn't vaxxed, so he deserved to die. The dumbest thing in the world. People have gotten so brainwashed by fear from the mainstream media, from the politicals, from television, just in general. They've been brainwashed by fear to believe in this vax like it's a religion. It's gotten way out of hand. Way out of hand. And hopefully this death of Colin Powell will kind of wake people up a little bit. But if you're sleeping, if you're in a really, really deep sleep and you think that the vax is everything, the vax is life, the vax is your God, then it's going to be hard for anything to convince you otherwise. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about the family statement that they put on Facebook about Mr. Colin Powell? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. How you feel about this vax and the mandates and everything else? If it can't stop the spread, if it can't necessarily prevent you from dying, well, maybe it can, but it can't stop you. It's not 100% effective at keeping you from dying. Then what's the point in mandating it? If it cannot, it cannot at all stop the spread, and maybe when you do catch it, you won't go to the hospital and die. The same as if you caught it with your regular immune system, you probably won't go to the hospital and die. It's like, what are we even doing here? Is it about health? Is it about safety? Or is it about control? Is it about brainwashing? Is it about trying to control the economy of the world? Is it about this great reset kerfuffle I've been hearing about a whole lot? What's really happening? I can't call it, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.